Well, today marks the anniversary of one of the darkest days in American history, September 11th, 2001. Ceremonies to honor the event were held across the nation and here in Montana. At a 9/11 remembrance ceremony in the Capitol Rotunda today, first responders were joined by other law enforcement and government officials, including Governor Greg Gianforte and First Lady Susan Gianforte.
I love that Montana, even though so distanced from the events in D.C. and Pennsylvania and New York, that we still here in Montana have a high level of pride for the firefighters and the law enforcement folks and the military, that we're still talking about it, and that matters.
In Great Falls, airmen at Malmstrom Air Force Base marked the moment the Twin Towers fell with a ceremony of remembrance. MTN's Madison Collier reports from the base.
It's been 24 years since September 11th, 2001, a day that forever changed the course of our nation and continues to shape the lives of those who wear the uniform. At Malmstrom Air Force Base, airmen gathered at the fire station to remember the nearly 3,000 lives lost and to honor the sacrifices made in the days and years that followed.
Courage, hope, unity. Remember the firefighters, police officers, and paramedics, and the citizens who ran toward the danger while others fled.
Gathered, sitting shoulder to shoulder as the weight of the morning settled in for the attendees, during a prayer, a moment of silence, and the ringing of the ceremonial bell to honor the lives lost.
For those who have raised their right hand since that day, the weight of 9/11 is personal. It reminds us why we serve. It reminds us that freedom is never free. It reminds us when our nation is challenged, we rise together.
From New York to the Pentagon to a field in Pennsylvania, the stories of courage remain etched in our nation's memory. Here, airmen pause each year, not just to look back, but to carry the promise forward that the lives lost on September 11th will never be forgotten. As the flag waves here at Malmstrom, the message is clear. Even 24 years later, America still remembers. At Malmstrom Air Force Base, Madison Collier, MTN News.
On the High Line, veterans climbed aboard motorcycles to escort first responders to a ceremony at Town Square in Havre. MTN's Justin Robichaud was there for the event.
It's been 24 years since the Twin Towers were taken out in New York City from a terrorist attack. The Havre American Legion Riders hosted a memorial service to remember 9/11.
It's such an awesome event every single year. We can never forget what happened.
September 11th holds deep meaning, a day for remembrance, as well as honoring victims and heroes. Featured speaker David Zimmer served in the National Guard and was in New York City that solemn day.
We pulled up in an old Deuce and a Half, if you remember those. They were just god-awful trucks, reliable, but we ran water, masks, and a bunch of other medical supplies down to the World Trade Center, Ground Zero.
Zimmer says the devastation that day changed his perspective on life.
The carnage was unexplainable. To see the extraordinary destruction is unfathomable. So it forever changed my thoughts and feelings on a few things.
For Hill County Sheriff Jamie Ross, 9/11 ceremonies are important to remember and honor the 3,000 victims of this terrorist attack.
One thing that I think about is there are adults now that weren't even alive when this occurred, and I think it's good to remind them what happened so we don't let it happen again.
In Havre, Justin Robichaud, MTN News.